Chris Watkin back again with Steph Walker from the agency. Steph, you are part of a self-employed estate agency model, but I'm of the opinion personally that most self-employed estate agents will fail. Try and persuade me otherwise.
This is a very interesting topic and one that's clearly very close to my heart.
Of course it is.
I think it's really, I'm going to say something that I suppose is quite a polarising view now. I believe that there are motivated people and unmotivated people, right? And you cannot motivate somebody who is unmotivated.
Agreed.
Ever. Don't care what you do. So I genuinely believe that if you're a motivated person, and by the way, I'm not saying if you're unmotivated that you are a horrible person, a bad person, can't do a good job person, not at all. But a motivated person for me is somebody that can self-start. If you can self-start, you can be a successful self-employed agent. Because the thing I've learned about motivated people is even if they want to do it all themselves to start with and make all of the mistakes, that's fine, because they'll go and make those mistakes and then they'll come back and go, okay, now tell me what other people are doing that is working and let me crack on. And they'll have the bounce back ability to take those first knocks and then move forward. If you're an unmotivated person, and there will be unmotivated people that try this.
I've seen them. They're going from one self-employed model to another.
Oh my God, I've just seen it again. Last week, I was like, oh, he's popped up there again. Oh, wow, that's interesting. And the disappointing thing is you don't have to fail in agency if you don't go down the self-employed route. Like, it's not a failure. There are other brilliant things you can do in this industry because conventional agency will change, but it is not going away. Whether the split shifts in terms of how much business is in one type of sector or another, it's irrelevant. So it's not a failure. It's just kind of going, well, do you know what? Well, actually, let me take that back. The person could be unmotivated, but also the business model that they were within may not be giving them the support to pull out some of those things that they should be doing on a daily basis to be successful. But there are, I've seen it myself, unmotivated people, they know what they can do to go and just nudge the dial or make a bit of an impact on their day, but they convince themselves that that's not necessary for them, and they don't do it.
I mean, I'm aware of some glory boys and girls who were very good at converting, then they come to a self-employed model, and they're not very good at actually generating the valuations in the first place. And it doesn't really matter what model you're with. Yeah. You still got to generate it yourself, haven't you? Because you haven't got the power of the brand.
Yeah. I think...
What, can you spot that? Have you now running your own self-employed agency? Can you spot that?
I think there are some very telltale characteristics of people that will run the business one way or the other.
Do tell.
So there are people that will go and knock doors and win business purely by force. And that's not to say every door knock is a force, by the way, because I actually think that the door knocking done right is a really powerful tool.
I agree. Frozen pig method.
Yeah, absolutely. I have sent lots of people to that video. But, you know, these people will just force their way in. They will grab the business by hook or crook. It will be any old customer at any old fee, at any old price. And the bit where it then falls apart is because there isn't the negotiator team nurturing that person up to the point of price reduction. You'll get bad reviews. So those people are easy to spot, and they're not TA UK people, they're not agency UK people, because they just wouldn't fit with the culture and ethos that we're doing. But in some places, could they probably have a business? Well, yeah, absolutely. So there's that bit. There's other people then that believe because they've sat under that Connell's banner for the last 15 years that they're automatically going to be able to get business.
Well, lots of people use me in the past, so they'll continue to use me.
Absolutely. And then they don't realise that you actually, have to go out and tell people what you're doing now. You know, networking actually becomes your biggest form of prospecting.
Because they still assume you're with Connell's.
Yeah, or our egos have told us that we were the main part of the transaction when actually they've forgotten you. And that sounds so disrespectful. You know, I probably thought I was the best agent in Crosby for a long, long time. And I think I was fairly well known, but not every customer will have remembered Steph because they hadn't seen me from the day I sat on their couch. They'd dealt with Anne, my sales progressor. They'd dealt with Joe, the sales neg.
Comes back to what we were saying before about having one person all the way through.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I think the other thing is, because there is so much of this sort of glory shouting on the likes of LinkedIn, etc., where some people have had overnight success, right? As in, oh, I listed 25 houses in my first month. Probably got very good Purplebricks data. Well done for them for using it correctly. But that's great, right? Somebody leaving from the high street isn't going to have had all those numbers in the phones like a Purplebricks person or maybe a yoga person or what have you, where those leads have been constantly coming to a direct individual. And so your journey's going to look different. But that's not to say that that person's had it easy either. And what happens with a lot of those people, they ride the wave for 3 months, then it comes to month 4 and 5 and they go, oh shit, now I need to get out and start prospecting.
So they had a good honeymoon period, but they never did any work.
Yeah.
I must admit, there's one agent that I've spotted called Tony Ruby, who just happens to be in Grantham, which is where we're filming today.
It's the first board of that company's I've ever seen, actually. I spotted it yesterday. I'm that sad agent that goes round and looks at agent boards.
And within 3 months of opening, he is the #1 agent for listings.
That's incredible.
But what he did do is he created a brand story and a personal brand for 2 or 3 years at his previous employer. And I think that's the magic thing is that he was out there in the community building his own brand up.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of, the likes of Adam Days and others have disagreed with me. I'm sure you will disagree with me. But I would personally, if I was going to set my own estate agency up as a self-employed model, is work in my present role for 2 or 3 years, building up my personal brand before moving. And I know that's not what you want to hear. But it's just
not
my
necessarily, because I'm not in this to put bums on seats.
Okay.
At all. I'm in it to partner with brilliant agents, not to be the biggest, but to be the best, and to ensure that each of those agents have the time dedicated to them to allow them to become successful. So I do disagree slightly with the potential disagreement. I think the trouble you've got is the juice worth the squeeze? If you can see the long game, if you have an exit strategy. And that's what I think, often moving from one job to the next is vilified, right? Because, you've got lots of jobs on your CV, you couldn't stay at one place too long. Why do people feel that if you're not earning or learning, you should be staying somewhere? That's what everybody should think. Every single year, January is always the big month, your New Year's resolutions, etc. The other thing you should be asking yourself if you're in an employed role, am I earning a bit more? Or am I still learning? If I'm doing both, I've hit the jackpot. I ain't going nowhere. If I'm only doing one, how important is the other to me? And if you've got none, no more new earnings, no more new learnings to be had, it's time to get out that door and find yourself something new. And I think you could absolutely take your time cultivating a great career in agency. Go to the independent, go to the corporate, spend some time online, because the biggest critiques you see on Pi and all these things of people that try and do something new are probably branch managers that have only ever existed in the 4 walls of that branch. I'm not saying that makes you a bad agent, but are you as well-rounded as somebody that gave it a punt and went self-employed, or did something slightly differently, or worked at Strike and did something completely differently in that respect? Probably not.
Thank you for your time today.